Hello YouTube, my name is Isabella and today we're going to be doing none other than a book haul. It's that time of year. I do a book haul once every 3 months and I have a lot of books to haul, so we're going to keep this short and sweet. I think there is a direct correlation between Isabella is sad and not reading things to Isabella decides to buy a bunch of books, and so for the last 3 months of the year I sure did buy quite a bit. I bought 19 books. A lot of them I found used though, so I'm not as mad about it. And I also have a nice set, collector's set, to show you at the end of this. We're just going to get into it and discuss, I think, my October purchases first. The very first book I found used, and I've always been curious about the series, and who is it? Chris from Bookish Cauldron on YouTube loves this series, so when I saw it I was like, you know what, fine, we'll do it. We'll embrace the mass market and just suck it up. So I bought Cushiels Dart by Jacqueline Carey. I actually own another book by this author and I didn't even know it was the same person, so I thought that was funny. I don't know super much about the series other than it is a trilogy. It is high fantasy, but it focuses on a sex worker, and I've heard nothing but great things, specifically from Chris. To be honest, I have avoided picking up this book just because of these utterly ugly, horrendous covers, but I'm excited to give it a shot. This seems to be like pretty popular fantasy from back in the day, so I'm excited to give it a try at some point. I also, on the same trip, picked up The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I'm not very much a mystery thriller reader, but I just sat there and knew it was rather new, and so I was just kind of tempted and I was like, you know what, screw it, let's do it. This, I think, is a haunted house story. Am I wrong? Oh no, I am wrong. Now I'm remembering correctly. Is about a woman who became a nanny for these two kids, and it seemed like the perfect job, or like too good to be true. And then we flash forward to the present where she's writing from prison to a lawyer or something of some sort to prove her innocence, that she didn't actually kill one of her charges. So I'm going to give it a shot. I have read Ruth Ware before, which is shocking because I don't read mystery thrillers. A lot of people love her. I'm going to give it a shot. It was used and cheap. The next book I found I was so excited for because I've nearly purchased this like full price at the bookstore before. So when I found it used, I snatched it up, and that's Empire of Wild by Cherry Dimmeline. Cherry Dimmeline has written a book I absolutely loved, The Marrow Thieves, which also has a sequel, and I just found out about the sequel, which shook me to my core. But this is an adult novel, and it follows a woman whose husband, I think, went missing, but then he comes back and is like a charismatic preacher talking about like how he wants to save people and bring them back to Jesus, and he doesn't recognize his wife at all. And it is inspired by the traditional story of the Rougarou, a werewolf-like creature that haunts the roads and woods of Métis communities. This is a bit out of my comfort zone depth-ish, but it sounds really cool, and I really loved Cherry Dimmeline's other book, so I was so excited to find that. The final thing I purchased in October I had big plans for, and kind of blew up in my face, and that's A Desolation Called Peace by Arcady Martin. I started reading this in December and had to DNF it like halfway through, not because I wasn't enjoying it, not because I think it was bad, but literally because my brain decided to say, nope, I can't concentrate on this anymore. I just didn't have the mental willpower to like understand it. Like my brain couldn't give enough, essentially, is what was happening. So I put it down for now. I do plan to come back to this. It's the sequel to a memory called Empire, a book I really enjoyed in 2021, and I was really hoping to close out the series because this is a duology, and it's a bummer. I know I'll have to start it from the beginning because my brain just decided to say no in December. So I will read this sometime in 2022. I'm disappointed I couldn't finish out the series though. The next 5 books I purchased all used, and all were November picks. The first being Pachinko by Min-Jin Lee. This, again, is very much out of my comfort zone. I think this is a multi-generational tale and starts off with a woman who finds herself to be pregnant. She's a Korean woman who finds herself to be pregnant in like the early 1900s, and she refuses to be bought off by the man who impregnates her. So she marries a sickly man who's on his way to Japan, and she has to deal with like the wrath of angering a really, really powerful man. And I think the like ripple down effects from that sounded really cool. And when this was coming out, there was so much like hype surrounding it. Possibly was nominated for some awards. I always like to at least try some like literary fiction, historical fiction throughout the year, even if it's only a few. And this one sounds really cool. I think in that same trip I found City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. This is also the author of like that really popular generic nonfiction, like self-help book, Creative Magic, Big Magic, something like that. This is entirely different. This is also historical fiction. I think this is sort of told kind of a little bit in the same vein as like Evelyn Hugo, where it's an older woman who possibly got famous, like telling her life story. And Jashana from the channel Jashana Reads, I think that's her channel name, loves this book. It's her favorite book of all time. So I'm curious to give it a go. We'll see. So I'm an absolute moron and went and hauled the wrong book. I've already hauled the book I was going to talk about. I found Return of the Trickster, not Son of the Trickster. I've already hauled that one. This is the third book in the Trickster series. Oh my god, my arm is breaking. Clearly I don't vlog a lot or at all. I was a bit unsure if I should pick up the third book in a series I haven't read yet. It's very not common to, it's uncommon to find a like finale speculative thing, and I'm definitely starting the series this year, so I figured why not do it. And you know what, I'm gonna do this now too. I forgot to haul Iron Widow. I have read this, I loved it. I read it via NetGalley and almost immediately purchased it because it was great. This is the start of a young adult sci-fi duology, which a girl's sister has just been killed. Women are used in this society for like their magical power and basically killed for it, and so she decides to sign up for this thing so that she can get revenge on her sister's killer, but instead kills the guy and is now like the Iron Widow. It's really great. Love the themes. The Jiran Zhao really did the damn thing. This is a great book. My arm is breaking. Oh my god. I also grabbed Dear Sweet Pea by Julie Murphy. This is technically set in the Dumplin verse, which I didn't know. It's Dumplin 2.5. Oh, there's my receipt. And I didn't know that because I haven't continued on with Dumplin. But anyway, this is a middle grade book from Julie Murphy, possibly her first middle grade. I honestly have no idea, and even the dust jacket doesn't give a lot away, but it seems like a sweet middle grade story. I just personally would like to read a little bit more middle grade, so I can't imagine it will also, and I also can't imagine it will take me that much time to get through this. The next book I have to talk about was a very exciting find because I've been looking for these books for literal years and not been able to complete out the collection, and I refuse to buy them full price. I just refuse. That's Dance with Dragons by George R.R. Martin. I am now currently missing one book, the middle book, the green one, whose name is escaping me at this point. So a bit of background with me in this series is that as the show was getting really, really popular, I downloaded them onto my Kindle and started reading them during my grade 11 religion class because my teacher was a bigot. But I couldn't get past book 4. I think I stopped like halfway through A Feast for Crows and have never continued on the series, never picked it up again, and I will not pick it up again unless there is word on a 6th book from George R.R. Martin. I know it's a long-running joke. Hopefully that book comes out at some point in time, but I couldn't pass up my opportunity to pick this one up, and now I'm only missing one in my collection. So we hit December. December was me finding a bunch of speculative books that were super exciting, especially when it's used. I always find it so difficult to find adult SFF used, and a couple of Christmas picks. The first find I was very pleasantly excited to find, and that's Tigana by Guy Gavriel Kay. And I know what, say it with me, nothing about this book. I just know that everyone talks about Guy Gavriel Kay in terms of the SFF, and a lot of people talk about this as like the best standalone fantasy book that they've ever read. So, big shoes to fill, Mr. K, Guy Gavriel Kay. Did I say Key? Might have said Key. Big shoes and expectations to fill. It's not as big, like it's almost 700 pages, and to tell a full fantasy story in that time frame, I think can be done, but we're just so used to the trilogies here, so I'm excited to give it a shot. Also, sorry for the Christmas decorations still. I'm in the process of getting rid of everything, but frankly, any free moment I've had currently has been used on filming because I'm so behind. But that should be gone soon enough. The next thing I found, I was so excited to find, and that's Who Fears Death by Nnedi Okorafor. Nnedi Okorafor is becoming a favorite sci-fi author of mine. I have really liked all of the stuff I've read from her, but I've never read a full-length novel. So when I saw this, even though it is mass market and the font is so small, oh my god, decided, you know what, we'll do it. I'll suck it up. 2021 was the year I guess I was broken down and said, fine, I'll try a mass market. I've purchased some. Have I read any yet? No, because this font is small. I've seen bigger font in mass market. Do I know what this is about? No. Do I know that this is one of Nnedi Okorafor's earlier works? Sure do. This is set in a post-apocalyptic Africa and follows a woman who has survived the annihilation of her village and then also survives the rape of an enemy general, and she kind of wanders into the desert hoping to die, but instead she gives birth to a baby girl with hair and skin the color sand. Her daughter is expected to live a life of violence. She's like shunned and whatnot, but then her daughter enters like a spirit realm and finds out that something is trying to kill her. So I think she goes on a journey where she attempts to find and stop like her would-be murderer, and then also grapples with nature, tradition, history, true love, and the spiritual mysteries of her culture, and ultimately learns why she was given the name she bears, Who Fears Death. Sounds super cool, like really compelling standalone sci-fi, I'm assuming. So that sounds great, and it will help towards my goal in 2022. I actually have a book that I know something about and was very excited, albeit apprehensive, when I found this at the thrift store, and that's The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I always want to say Evan Winters. That is incorrect. This is a book I've been intending to try for a long time. I think I own it on Kindle. I just have seen so many mixed reviews. Some people absolutely love it and some people hate it, think it's like one of the worst fantasy books they've ever read. So we'll see where I fall. This follows a man named Tao, I believe, and he is happy to like live his like regular ass life, and then I think his wife and child is possibly murdered. This doesn't even have a description on the back. That's wonderful. And anyway, I think he goes crazy, possibly enlists in a war, and finds out that he's got a power that only one in a very small amount of men has, and then he's trying to get vengeance. I think this is really cool that it was started out as a self-published book, and then Orbit picked it up. I think the third book is set to come out sometime this year. I'm interested to give it a try. I will go into it with an open mind, although I'm a little scared by some of the reviews. I also found some literary sci-fi, which sounds super cool, and the reviews have just been amazing. And that's The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez. The sheer reviews that I've seen for this, I forget who initially reviewed it that made me have to put it on my radar, but it might have been Jesse from Bow Ties and Books. I think they raved about it, and this just seems so cool. I think it's set in a somewhat futuristic world. Our main character is an astronaut, and then she like discovers this child who doesn't speak. She meets a mysterious boy fallen from the sky. a boy broken from his past, and they develop a really, really special bond. But of course, other people want to get at this little boy because of, I guess, his nature and his origins. So she desperately has to like fight to save him and save her little found family. Okay, on to some new books. I got a couple Christmas books. My mom asked me to put some on a list and she grabbed them for me. The first I have here is Wrath by John Gwynne, fourth book in the Faithful and the Fallen series, a book I should be reading sometime in January. It is on my TBR for this month. I've pitched this series so often as of late and throughout my channel because I've read and purchased each book, so I've talked about it a lot. I'm not going to do that again. I've enjoyed this series. I think I've consistently given the books around 4 stars, and I'm excited to give this one a shot because people talk about this finale like in a big way. People talk about this like it is one of the be all and end alls of finales, so can't wait to get to it. Can't wait to have some payoff. There's been a little bit of slowness in the past 2 books of a lot of just traveling, so I'm excited to get some action, get some payoff, and hopefully people survive because I'm also nervous about that. I also asked for The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. The second I found out about this book, I was incredibly intrigued by it, and I don't know why I never got it sooner or picked it up sooner, but I'm glad I could grab it in paperback. This is set in a puritanical-esque society where like the prophet's word is law. Our main character is biracial and her very existence is a crime in this world, and her mother has, I think, died in under mysterious circumstances, and the main character, Emmanuel, she, I think, finds a diary of her mother. She just finds out a lot about her mother that she would have never expected, and she learns truths about like this evil church that she lives in. Sounds pretty interesting and cool. I've seen really great reviews for it. I think there's technically supposed to be a sequel, but this has come out a little while ago, but I am excited to give it a shot. Take a shot the amount of times I said excited in this video. I'm pretty sure it was quite a lot. I also asked for The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. Also, can't remember what it's about. My brain hates me. Right, yes. I remember. This is, I think, adult sci-fi, and it's set in this world where like the multiverse is known. You can actually travel between different worlds, but the catch is that you cannot visit a world where the subsequent or equivalent of you is living in that world. You can't travel there. But our main character has a great advantage because she is only alive in like 8 of these vast amount of worlds, so she can do a lot of travel. But then I think her doppelgangers start getting hunted down, and she has to investigate and figure out why she and her doppelgangers are being hunted, and reveal her own plot that endangers not just her world but the entire multiverse. Again, a pick for my sci-fi attempts in 2022. This is also really short, just over 300 pages, so we'll see how this goes, but I'm very excited for it. I said excited again. The final Christmas book is The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. I really enjoyed the first book, The Bear and the Nightingale, once I transitioned over from audiobook to physical. Because, unpopular opinion, I did not like the audiobook on that at all. But this series is like a sort of Russian inspired and also like set sort of in the past, where a young girl is living in this village, and she, I think, is connected to the spirit world. It's been a hot minute since I've read the other one. I think a lot of people in like the village were forgetting the old gods and like turning to Christianity, and that was like leaving them open to being harmed. But the main character has the ability still to see the different creatures and is targeted because of that. I really enjoyed the first book. I might have to reread it now that I'm thinking about it, because it's only been a year, but my brain is not remembering the events of it at all. This is the sequel, which I'm very interested to see where this goes. People love this trilogy overall. I'm excited to see where the series goes off from there, because the first one was very centralized, one location in a small thing, and so I'm excited to see where we branch off to. This next book I shouldn't have purchased, but I was at Indigo, 30% off all their hardcovers, and I was feeling shoppy, so I did. And that's Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Ayamide, Seen really good buzz about this book, and especially very recently I've seen a lot of good stuff about it, so I just decided on a whim to pick it up. This is incredibly out of my wheelhouse. It is a young adult mystery thriller following two students who are going to a very elite and very white school, but they are being targeted by a mysterious texter named Aces, threatening to spill all of their secrets. I am currently like 2/3 of the way done. When you see this, it should be way well done and in the past, because this isn't going up for a while. But I am enjoying it. I do have some complaints, but I'm very interested to see how this resolves. I just got to a reveal that was like kind of shocking, surprising, so I want to know how the rest of the book is going to fall out. And the final book I got in super early was Where the Drowned Girls Go by Shauna Maguire, book 7 in the Wayward Children series. I didn't love the most recent installment. That kind of let me down, but this one I was intrigued enough to pre-order it because it is set in a different school setting. The vibes of this seem really, really dark and like kind of creepy and maybe macabre, and I think it follows Cora, a character we've already seen. I don't know, it seems interesting. I like the tonal shift, and I usually like the stories that are set in other worlds more, but this one I think is promising. The final things I have to dig out, and I'm so excited to talk about them, and that is none other than my Illumicrate editions of the Greenbone Saga, in which I love them so much. So I did definitely have to pre-order and get this box because I love the Greenbone Saga. It is definitely a favorite series of all time. So we've got Jade City, which is stunning, love the green, Jade War, and Jade Legacy. I'm a little bummed because a couple of the books came a bit damaged. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but maybe not. I have flattened them out, but a lot of the pages at the bottom, especially of Jade War, came really bent, and I was a little upset about that. But I love this series. I value them. I'm never going to sell them again, so I don't know why I really should care about them that much, because they're my books. I love them. I'm going to keep them forever. So yeah, they're so pretty. There's sprayed edges. I love this series. The last two books are definitely favorites of the year. That is it for my book haul. I'm very scared to see the runtime on this because long videos, editing them is not fun. That's okay. Let me know one of like the most exciting thing you've purchased in the last few months have been. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.